to record? That looks like it's recording now because the light's flashing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, let's start again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to edit it out, right?
Okay. Yeah, so today I'm going to be showing some techniques from the dele first, and then after that I'm going to be showing some techniques from the half guard to take the back cleanly against your opponent. So let's get started. Alright, so as you just put one knee on the mat. So this is a very common dele position, right? My opponent has his front leg coming forward, and let's if you just spin around quickly here. You can see the grip on the other side of me. Right? I'm controlling my opponent here with a grip on for the dele, and my foot is hooking through on my opponent's hip here, right? Stopping him from being able to come through. And my far foot is pushing on his hip here, also to help me maintain the distance here, right? So this hand can be doing a number of things. I could be putting my hand in the collar here. I could be holding the far sleeve, right? And like basically, it's good to control the far sleeve here because I don't want the guy to be able to stuff my leg. Because once his leg starts getting stuffed, I immediately have to take my dele hook out and start re-looping and building back my dele, right? Because once he steps over this leg, I have to do something. Otherwise, I'm giving him headquarters position. He has a knee slide he can hit right here, right? Giving lots of problems there. He can start X passing from there, right? He hit X pass, or he can just hit a smash here and start driving both my knees together, right? So this starts to becoming the beginning of the end of my guard. So to maintain good dele, if this leg ever gets dominated on the inside, so I'm just tucking it in the middle, if it ever gets dominated, I immediately either have to do something to recompose the leg back on the outside, or I have to pummel this leg back to go back to dele. I cannot allow this leg to get dominated and just stay here like this, because eventually he's gonna beat this one leg. I'm using only one leg to maintain the guard, and this leg ultimately is not doing anything. It's not helping me maintain the distance. It's not helping me push him away or advance, right? In the jiu-jitsu, especially at high levels, all four of my limbs have to be working and being active to help me stay in position. If I ever get one limb gets beat and I'm just doing nothing with it, my opponent now has the advantage to start getting ahead of me, right? So back to what we were trying to do. We're trying to work our way to the back eventually here. So my technique, I'm gonna hit the knee here, and it's gonna open up the space and it's gonna rock his base. Also, I'm gonna pull on this collar to just make him stagger, right? I want him to send him off balance just for a second so I can advance, right? So I'm gonna take my dele hook out, slide it in between his legs, and put it up on his hip. Okay? So now I've advanced from dele to one-legged X, right? I'm gonna do that again. So it's here with my dele hook. I pull down on the collar to break my opponent's posture, and I push on his leg, and it creates a stagger. You see, I'm just gonna go off balance for a second here, and at that moment, I'm gonna release this dele hook and slide my leg underneath and come to this position, where I'm in one-legged X now. So my leg that was pushing him away is gonna slide in between his legs now, and I'm gonna have full one-legged X, right? So from here, I'm gonna start like lifting, pushing and lifting here. Of course, I'm squeezing my knees together so he can't backstep or step his leg out of here quickly, right? That I'll lose everything if he's able to get this leg away quickly. So one thing I do is I like to reach with this leg and just block. So if he tries to pull away or he tries to do anything to get this leg out, I have these three limbs at least holding it in place while I reach my arm underneath and get a grip on his pants. So right here, I want to make sure he can never put his weight back on this foot again and put this foot back on the mat. As long as he can't put his foot on the mat, it's going to be very hard for him to start passing my guard. That's the first thing he has to do. He has to start putting weight on this knee and weight on his foot, right? And I don't want that to happen. As long as I keep this grip, I can always push him away. I can start Xing him up. But for this particular technique, I don't want to do that, right? I'm going to lift this arm up and bring it to the other side of my body, right? And then from here, I'm going to take this hook and slide it in and make it an X. Alright, so the main thing here, I don't care if he turns this way. If he turns this way, he's giving me his back anyways. So let's turn a little bit toward the camera here. Right? So I don't care too much if he turns this way. If he turns away this way, he's exposing his back to me, and then all I have to do is climb, and he's giving me the position anyways, right? So if this guy on top is experienced, he's gonna want to try to get over top of this hook and start bringing his weight this way, right? Because that's bad for me. If he starts able to push down this hook and start walking around, like I can walk this way, right? My legs are gonna end up with no guard, and he's gonna end up on my side, right? That's worst case scenario here, right? So as long as we go back and hold the position, so as long as I keep my hooks active and I keep the weight in this knee, he's never gonna be able to plant his foot on the floor and start like advancing his pass, right? And I'm always gonna keep this hook, and that hook's gonna be live and active. So if he changes levels, if he tries to stand up and walk around it, that hook is gonna stay active, so he can never start walking into this area here, right? So he's back down. So next stage here, I'm gonna get a grip on his belt or his pants here, and I'm gonna get a grip like just below his knee here, right? So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna just lift this hook up, and I'm gonna drop it on top of my shin and create the crab ride position. Right? So I'm gonna lift this up and just drop my shin here. Right? Some people, you might have really long femurs, or you might not like have the flexibility to take your leg out from here and just put it like that. So just take one shrimp. Just take a shrimp. Alright? Just so give yourself extra space like here. I don't need to do that. Right? And I'm gonna go like here. So I was here with the X hook, right? And I'm gonna take this out and put it behind his knee here. So this is a very interesting detail. Like a lot of people, when they go crab ride from the back here in this position, what they do is they like to pull the guy straight down on top of him. And I realized over the years, like I have a huge problem with this knee. Like a lot of people just don't have the flexibility in their knee to come down here, and you can really hurt your training partner. Especially nowadays, your training partners are everything. You don't want to injure anybody, right? So what I found is a lot cleaner position if you actually only break down the leg that's extended already. Because it allows the person to fall really cleanly and neatly on his knee, and it makes the position really neat. So what I like to do is I like to actually push this hook out and use that to circle my opponent so his hips actually fall down right in between me, right? Opposed to pulling him on top. See how his knee falls clean and it's not like getting tucked underneath him, right? I want it to be a nice clean. Now I have a crab ride, and now I can advance and get my seatbelt, right? So putting your hand in the seatbelt is very important here, right? Because I've knocked him down, so this shoulder now is now leaning towards the mat, right? So I always want my choking hand when I'm taking the back to be on the top side. The reason for this, if I was to grab his back of the seatbelt like this, Andrew now has the option to put his back on the mat, right? And if Andrew can put his back on the mat, now we get into this awkward position. It makes it very easy for him to escape from my back attempt, right? Right? It's a common mistake. So if we fall, I want my choking arm to be on the bottom side. Because now if Andrew tries to put his back on the mat, he doesn't have that option because I'm using the seatbelt blocking him, just like in your car. The seatbelt blocks you from being able to come out of that axis, right? He can't put his back on the mat anymore. He can't get his back away from me. But it still can be tricky to take the back from here if this was to happen, right? So what I like to do is I like to sit out, and I'm gonna take this leg and step over, and I'm gonna use this knee and bring it up as close to Andrew's head as possible. So what's gonna happen is that's gonna allow me a lot of space to be able to roll back really easily, and now I have lots of space to put my hook and take it back. Again, you have to remember when you roll the guy back over that it's the same situation again now. And my choking arm is on the top side, and I need it on the bottom side. So when you roll the guy over, you have to remember to switch your seatbelt back the other way. So Andrew can't put his back on the mat again, all right? And this is like perfectly secured back control. All right, so let's go through the whole sequence again. So, oh, we gotta return this one. So start. I'm playing dele riva, hand on the collar, right? I'm going to use this foot and push Andrew's knee away while I pull down on the collar, right? This is going to make him stumble, and it's going to break his posture at the same time. The reason I need him to stumble is because I'm taking a risk. Like when I take this dele riva hook out, Andrew has an opportunity to try to pass my guard in that moment, right? If he's off balance, he might be able to do that, right? So I don't want to give him that option. So I'm going to kick him and break his posture, so he's going to stumble and be off balance. And he's off balance, he can't get his balance to move quickly again, and it's going to give me the opportunity to advance. Alright, so I'm gonna take this leg out. I'm gonna go underneath, and this foot is gonna become a hook, and this foot's gonna go into his hip, and this is a very common position in one-legged X. Alright? So once I get here, I'm gonna dive underneath the leg, block from escaping and dive underneath the leg. I hit my X guard here. Right? From here, I'm gonna dump the leg over my head, right? So I have the grip on the pants. I'm coming underneath with this hand, putting it on the other side. So I'm gonna switch my grip, 2-on-1, and I'm gonna grab the pants. Alright? So once I get here from my X hook, I'm gonna just lift this leg up and come to the crab ride. But instead of dumping my opponent directly on top of me, I'm only gonna knock out the leg that's L-shaped here. Right? And that's gonna allow his hips to drop down diagonally right in front of me, and I'm not gonna worry about hurting his knee here. Alright, so I'm gonna put this hook, and that's how that hook squares his back up with my chest. That's what I want right here. And then quickly, I wanna put this seatbelt in and secure this, right? Another key good detail is protect the choking arm, right? You always want the choking arm to be covered, because if he goes naturally just to try to block his neck from being choked, right? He's gonna have to grab the non-essential hand, right? The hand that I can't choke him with first, because I'm protecting the choking arm, right? So if he grabs this first, right? And now the choking arm is free to go onto his neck. Opposed to if I had my hands the other way, if he grabs the top arm, now this arm is free, but this arm I can't choke him with because it's the bottom arm. I don't want my bottom arm free. I want the danger arm to be free, right? So when he grabs like this, he can only grab the arm that I'm protecting with, right, first, because the other one's underneath, right? And that can be, and it creates an easy situation where he goes to grab it, right? And then now the danger arm is free to go onto the neck, right? So you always gotta remember when you're seatbelting, take the back, always protect the choking arm.